The government want to control our lives, they want to take over everything, and now they've formed the Ministry of Quizzes, who have issued their own quiz book, the definitive Ministry Quiz Book. Is it any good? What does it mean for quiz? Watch this review and find out. Okay, so it's not really a government initiative. It is the new book by Dave Gentle, who posts on Twitter as Ministry of Quizzes. You may know Dave from previous books, including On the Tip of My Tongue, which I would recommend. It's a good book. So, is this Ministry of Quizzes book any good? Well, it's a mix of solo and group quizzes. There are only 1,837 questions, so not the most questions that you'll find in a book, but what the book doesn't lack is variety. There are lots of different types of quiz in here. For example, 50-50, where, does what it says on the tin, you're choosing between two options. What comes next, which is a bit like Only Connect, round 2. There's 4 clues leading to one answer, so the sooner you answer, the more points you get. There's one which is more or less or the same, trying to work out how two things relate to one another. There are matching rounds, like match the tagline to the film or match the US president to the event that happened in that presidency. But of all the different types of quiz in this book, one that I've never come across before anywhere is called Wisdom of the Crowd. So what happens here is that they ask a question like, for example, how many kings of England have there been? And they put that to 200 people, and then they share the stats. They show the most common answer, the middle position answer, the mean average for men and for women, lots of different statistical representations, and then you have to come up with your answer. And assuming the crowd's average answer is not correct, then you score points if you are more accurate than them, and the closer to being correct that you are, the more points you score. It's a really, really interesting concept. I'm not 100% sure that it works for an individual, because fundamentally it's going to come down to you going, I've got a bit of knowledge, but here's my guess. But it may work really well if you're playing as a group, as a family, or as a team. Another type of quiz in this book is picture logic. The example here is pictures of country outlines, and then there are questions that will address different pictures, and it may be one picture, it may be a set of pictures. So for example, in this quiz, the first question is which 3 of these country outlines are in Africa? And I like this. I think it's a really, really nice format. I think it would work brilliantly electronically. It's a little trickier to pull it off in a book, but nonetheless a really interesting type of round here. And there's a dozen or so questions that cause you to have to think about all these countries in a different way and pull different areas of knowledge together. And the final round that I want to highlight that I particularly liked was karaoke classics in Esperanto. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're given lyrics, but in Esperanto. And I really like it because, let's face it, who speaks Esperanto? And yet, it is somehow still eminently playable. Really, really nice round, that one. So this book is full of variety and creativity in terms of difficulty. Perhaps not the most difficult quiz book that you're going to come across. There are quite a few questions I've come across before over the years. It's perfect for a pub quizzer or for a family. For the serious quizzer, there are still questions in there that you might enjoy. I learned, for example, what ibophobia is. So there is stuff in there for everybody, but it's probably more at the casual end of the quizzer market. Beyond the title, and the design and the intro, which really kind of carries on the theme of the Ministry of Quizzes, actually the conceit doesn't follow through for the rest of the book, and it's a shame. I would have liked to have seen the theme really be played out throughout the book, but that didn't happen this time. Maybe it will happen next time. So how do I rate this book? Well, there are some really great rounds. There are a few that feel a little bit like filler, mostly the standard general knowledge round. There is a lot of variety though in this book, but not a huge number of questions. It's a broadly accessible book, and I would give it 16 out of 20 for its content. For format, the author squeezes the maximum out of every opportunity to do something a little bit different in this book. There are some really nice ideas in here. Wisdom of the Crowd doesn't quite work for me, but full marks for trying. So I give this book 17 out of 20 for its format. Practicality, the answers are all at the back of the book, which kind of makes sense if you're playing it in a group. You don't want to accidentally stumble over the answers, so that works. Rounds that are reliant on visuals are constrained by the fact this is a relatively small book, or indeed that it's a book at all. It would perhaps be great to have a QR code in here so you could scan that and then go online to see the pictures in high quality. But that said, for practicality, I still give it 16 out of 20. Now, annoyances. This is not an annoying book, but The thing that really intrigued me about this book, the Ministry of Quizzes MacGuffin, is the thing that actually annoyed me slightly, because it feels like a missed opportunity. After reading the intro, quite excited about how this is going to play out, and then the theme kind of gets dropped, and I think that's a disappointment for me. Having recently read Frank Paul's 12 Quizzes of Christmas, this book feels like there was an opportunity to do something really special here with the theme. And in another year, I probably wouldn't even have thought anything of it, but this year, I just think that there is an opportunity, perhaps for book 2, for them to push the boundaries a little bit further. So for me, it's not really annoying, but I still rue the missed opportunity, so I'd say 15 out of 20. Longevity. Now, this is a perfect Christmas present quiz book. What it lacks in depth, it makes up for, more than makes up for in variety. There's sufficient novelty in the rounds that this book will probably stick on your shelves for quite some time, instead of finding itself donated to a charity shop in the spring. So for that reason, we give it 15 out of 20. All of which means that actually we are really happy to recommend this book. It is a classic of the Christmas quiz book genre. It might not be for the hardened quizzer who just wants a shed load of really hard questions, but there will be something in there that they will enjoy. But for anyone else, it will give you pleasure to work through it. You will enjoy it, and it will allow you to quiz with others. So this is something that you should consider having on your shelves, and if you want to buy it, there's a link in the description below. Now, if you've enjoyed this review, look out for our other reviews on this channel, and look out for our Christmas special, which will pull together a number of reviews to give you ideas of what to buy for the quizzer in your life, or indeed, if you're a quizzer just looking for things to ask for. Look out for that coming up. And just up here, or here, probably both, are some videos on this channel that YouTube thinks you might like.